Are you tired of trying to piece together random advice about menopause only to feel more confused and overwhelmed than before? Well, you are not alone. See, every day I hear from women who tell me that they're doing their best, but the answers they get are incomplete, conflicting, or downright unhelpful. And the truth is, menopause is not meant to be figured out through trial and error. It is meant to be understood. I'm Taufik Akir, Mr. Menopause here, a certified and award-winning menopause and healthy aging strategist, best-selling author, and your host. And for more than 2 decades, I've helped women stop wasting years chasing quick fixes and finally get the clarity, confidence, and results that you deserve. And today I am introducing you to the Menopause Made Simple Experience, a proven framework that simplifies menopause and will help you reclaim your health, confidence, and vitality. Welcome to the Mr. Menopause Show. Let's start with the reality check, because in 2025, more than 1 billion women worldwide are in menopause right now. 1 billion. That means that nearly 1 in every 8 people on this planet is going through the same life stage. Yet the level of understanding and support remains shockingly inadequate. Now, I want you to sit with that number for a moment. Now, imagine a stadium packed with 80,000 people. Now, imagine 10,000 stadiums just like that, filled with women navigating menopause. That is the scale that we're talking about here. And despite the sheer magnitude, most of these women are still being told the same tired line. It's stress, it's aging, or you just have to tough it out. Well, now let me paint a different picture. You're in your mid-40s or early 50s. You're a professional, a mother, a partner, maybe even a caregiver for aging parents. You've always been capable and reliable, but suddenly your body doesn't feel like your own. You wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. drenched in sweat, peeling off the covers, flipping your pillow to the cool side, and you lie there staring at the ceiling until your alarm goes off. You stumble through the day foggy and irritable, and when you finally do sit down with your doctor for help, you're told that it's probably anxiety or that you need an antidepressant. And if this sounds familiar, you are not imagining things. A 2023 Mayo Clinic survey revealed that 75% of women who seek medical advice for menopause leave their doctor's office without a solution. And in 2024, a British Medical Journal review confirmed that most doctors receive less than 4 hours of menopause education during their entire medical schooling. 4 hours to prepare for something that affects half the population. And that lack of training is not your fault, but it does become your problem. And here's what makes the situation even heavier. See, menopause is not a single issue experience. It's not just hot flashes or night sweats, though those can be brutal. There are more than 80 recognized symptoms and side effects, ranging from memory lapses and joint pain to heart palpitations and digestive issues. The combination is unique to each woman, but the impact is universal, and it chips away at a woman's quality of life. I had a client named Deanna who told me that she felt like she was disappearing. She was successful in her career and confident in herself. But during menopause, she began to gain weight that wouldn't budge, even though she had not changed her diet or exercised. She would lose her train of thought mid-sentence in her meetings, and that was something she had never experienced before. Her doctor brushed her off and said it was just part of aging. She told me she went home that night and cried. Not because of the symptoms, but because she felt invisible and unheard. And Diana is not alone. Another study published in 2024 showed that up to 60% of women say that their menopause symptoms also directly affect their work performance. In fact, economists now estimate that unmanaged menopause symptoms cost the global economy more than $150 billion annually in lost productivity, absenteeism, and early retirement. And that number is not just about dollars, because behind it are real women leaving careers they worked decades to build, stepping back from leadership roles, or just feeling like they no longer have the energy to chase their dreams. And let's not forget the emotional toll. Anxiety, depression, mood swings, and a sense of isolation, which are all common companions during menopause. One study from the National Institutes of Health in late 2024 found that women in midlife are twice as likely to experience major depressive episodes compared to women in their 20s and 30s. Not because they're weaker, but because hormonal shifts intersect with the pressures of midlife, like raising kids, supporting families, building careers, and navigating aging parents. It's a perfect storm, and yet society still treats menopause as if it's a minor inconvenience. Now, look, before we go any further, I do want to pause and clear up a few of the most common myths about menopause. And these myths are part of why so many women feel confused, dismissed, and frustrated. But by understanding them head on, I can help you see why your experience may be not what you've been told that it would be. Myth number one is that menopause is just hot flashes and night sweats. The reality is, those are only two symptoms out of more than 80. For many women, the more disruptive ones are the ones that nobody really sees, like brain fog, mood swings, bone loss, digestive changes, increased UTIs, and chronic fatigue, to name a few. And that's why so many women feel misunderstood. Their suffering is real, but it does not always look like the stereotypical image of a woman fanning herself. Myth number two is that if your doctor did not mention menopause, then it must not be menopause. Well, the truth is that most providers are not adequately trained in menopause to even recognize or manage your symptoms. So if your doctor dismissed your symptoms or misdiagnosed them as something else, that does not mean that you're imagining what's happening. It means the healthcare system has not caught up with what you actually need. And that lack of clarity is one of the biggest reasons that so many women spend years searching for answers. And myth number three is that there is only one real fix for menopause. Well, the pill, the cream, the supplement, and the diet that promises to solve everything, well, if you've ever spent money chasing those dreams, first, you're not alone, right? But women collectively spend billions every year on quick fixes that don't really work. But menopause is multi-layered. There's no single magic bullet because the experience touches every part of your health: physical, mental, emotional, and social. And it is not that you failed, it's the myth that has failed you. And this is where I want to pause and speak directly to you, because too often women are told that they just have to tough it out, or that their symptoms are exaggerated, or maybe even that menopause is simply something you have to get through, right? Well, the narrative is not only dismissive, it's damaging. It leaves women questioning themselves, wondering if you're overreacting and you just carry unnecessary guilt or shame. So let me be clear. The problem is not you. The problem is not your body failing. The real problem is the lack of clarity, education, and support that has been denied to women for generations. And that absence of guidance is why so many women end up chasing random solutions, wasting money, and feeling like nothing works. It's not because you're broken. It is because the roadmap has been missing. Now, let's bring this back to the bigger picture, right? Because I often say that menopause does not just touch your hormones. It touches every part of your life. It affects how you show up in your relationships, how you perform at work, how you feel in your own skin, and even how you see yourself in the mirror. And when women tell me, I feel like I'm losing myself, well, I know that pain is real because I've heard it echo through the voices of countless women from around the world for more than 2 decades now. And that is why I created the Menopause Made Simple Experience, because women deserve better. You deserve more than random collections of tips from social media or rushed advice from a 10-minute doctor visit. You deserve a framework that simplifies menopause into something clear, practical, and empowering. And the takeaway here is simple. If you've been struggling, if you've been trying to figure this out all alone, if you've ever walked out of your doctor's office more confused than when you walked in, well, I want you to hear me when I say this. You are not alone, and there is a better way forward. And that is exactly what I am going to be showing you coming up next. Now that we've talked about the challenges and cleared up some of the biggest myths, let's turn the page, because here's the truth. Menopause does not have to feel like a guessing game. You do not have to just piece together random advice, hoping that something will finally work. Look, there is a clear way forward, and it starts with having a framework that brings everything together clearly. And this is the foundation of the Menopause Made Simple experience built with my Menopause Made Simple method. It's a proven path through menopause designed to help you move from confusion and frustration into clarity and confidence. It comes down to four powerful steps: assess, address, adapt, and ascend. Step one is to assess. This stage is about understanding what's really happening in your body instead of stumbling in the dark, wondering if what you're experiencing is normal or random. Assessment gives you clarity. You learn where you are in the stages of menopause and identify which symptoms are affecting your health and your daily life. Assess helps to replace confusion with understanding. It empowers you with awareness so you can stop questioning yourself and start connecting the dots. Heidi is a perfect example of why assess matters. She told me, "I wish I had learned all of this sooner so I would have been better prepared." See, for years she went through symptoms she could not name, feeling like her body was just betraying her. But once she understood the stages of menopause, she said it was like a light finally switched on for me. She said knowing where she was and why her body was changing gave her the power to prepare, plan, and take back control. Step two is to address. Knowledge is the foundation, but action is where transformation begins. Address is about tackling the physical, mental, and emotional challenge of menopause with evidence-based solutions. It's about building a toolkit that fits your life, including medical options, holistic alternatives, and lifestyle strategies. Instead of bouncing from one quick fix to the next, address helps you take informed, confident steps forward. And Deanna's story shows the power of this stage because she was struggling with relentless hot flashes and sleepless nights. But after completing her Menopause Made Simple experience, she walked into her doctor's office informed and empowered. She had the right words, the right questions, and the confidence to advocate for herself. Afterwards, her doctor adjusted her plan, and within weeks, she no longer had hot flashes and was finally sleeping through the night. She told me that for the first time in years, I feel like myself again. And that is what happens when you address with clarity. Step three is to adapt. This stage is about creating sustainable habits. It's about recognizing that menopause is not just a moment in time, but a life stage that requires flexibility, resilience, and practical strategies you can maintain long term. Mary's experience shows this beautifully. She had tried every diet and workout trend, but nothing seemed to stick. Through the program, though, she learned how to align her nutrition, fitness, stress management, and lifestyle strategies with the realities of her changing hormones. So instead of forcing herself into unrealistic routines, she adapted small, meaningful changes that fit her lifestyle. 6 months later, she not only felt stronger and more energized, but she also told me, "This feels natural now. I'm not fighting against my body anymore. I'm working with it." And that is the essence of adapt, making your new strategies part of your everyday life so the changes last. And step four is to ascend. This stage is about rising above the struggle. Ascend means moving beyond managing symptoms to reclaiming your confidence and creating a new vision for your life. It is transformation. So instead of suffering in silence or shrinking yourself to fit what others expect, ascend empowers you to show up fully with vitality, joy, and hope for the future. See, Darlene once believed that menopause was something she had to endure quietly. She told me she thought she had to just suck it up and be stoic, even if it meant struggling in silence. Well, through the training, she discovered that menopause is not shameful and that it's not something to hide. And now she speaks openly with her friends and even with other moms at her kids' school. And she says that she feels less anxious, more hopeful, and more confident than she ever expected. That is what ascension looks like. Not just surviving menopause, but stepping into a chapter of life filled with openness, strength, and renewed joy. See, these stories show what is possible when you stop relying on trial and error and you start following a clear framework. Assessing helps you see what's happening. Addressing gives you the tools to take action. Adapting makes these tools stick in your real life, and descending allows you to rise into a future where menopause no longer defines you. Instead, you define how you experience it. That is the power of the Menopause Made Simple experience. It's not about patching together random tips or surviving one day at a time. It's about gaining clarity, building confidence, and stepping into menopause with a plan that works for your unique journey. And as you just heard from Heidi, Deanna, Mary, and Darlene, this is not theory. These are real stories from real women who stopped guessing and started taking back control. Now, before we transition to the final section and take you deeper into what this experience actually can mean for you, let's pause for a short reset. I call it Menopause Made Simple in a minute. It's a quick, practical tip that you can use right away to feel more in control, more calm, and more confident. It's time for Menopause Made Simple in a minute, where I give you one simple, powerful tip that you can put into action today. Now, hot flashes can strike at any time, and being prepared makes all the difference. So, create a simple cool down kit that you can keep handy, especially if you're someone who's on the go. Now, your kit could include a small handheld fan, a chilled water bottle, and even cooling wipes that you can tuck into your bag. And this matters because, from what I'm told, one of the most frustrating parts of menopause for you ladies is feeling caught off guard. So, having a cool down kit ready gives you back control in the moment. So, instead of panicking or hiding, you can handle a hot flash quickly, discreetly, and confidently. It's simple, it's practical, and it puts the power back into your hands. Now, that is what Menopause Made Simple in a minute is all about. Now, we have talked about the challenges, the myths, and the framework that makes menopause simpler. I even shared a quick tip that you can use right away. And now I want to bring it all together with real life connection. Because look, the truth is, transformation during this stage of life is not just about easing symptoms, right? It's about restoring dignity, confidence, and control in every area of life. It's about rewriting the story so that women no longer see themselves fading away, but instead stepping into a season of strength. I've seen women begin their journey with me feeling defeated, convinced that their best years were behind them. They were exhausted from sleepless nights, overwhelmed by unpredictable symptoms, and silently carrying fears about their health. And then, step by step, with the right clarity and tools, their lives began to change for the better. Like Maria, when she first came to me, she was experiencing hot flashes every 30 minutes. They dominated her days and disrupted her nights. She had reached the point where she could not even imagine a moment without them. But after going through the Menopause Made Simple experience, Maria's results were nothing short of life change. She looked at me and said, "No more hot flashes. Can you believe it, Topik? I don't have hot flashes." And when asked what she would say to other women who are struggling through menopause about working with me, her response was simple. Doing this program will change your life. It changed my life. And for Maria, it was not just about physical relief. It was about freedom, right? The freedom to enjoy her life without being disrupted by her body, and the freedom to believe again that things could be better. Then there's Constance. She came to me with her A1C at 8.6, struggling with her blood sugar and carrying the weight of medication that she thought she would need forever. But after just 8 weeks, her numbers began to change. Her A1C dropped to 5.6. Her doctor took her off medication, and getting choked up in a video testimonial, she said, "I got back a life that I didn't think I could ever have again." That moment matters, not just because her labs improved, but because she felt renewed. Constance went from believing her future was locked in by her health conditions to realizing that she could reclaim her life. And what she once thought was gone forever became possible again. And the hope in her voice said everything. And then there's Sherrelle. In an interview about her experience working with me, she said, "I was told to just trust the process. And as I trust the process week by week, I just get lighter and lighter. I'm so amazed." For years, she had been stuck in the cycle of dieting harder, exercising more, and still not getting the results that she wanted. What she learned was how to properly feed her hormones so her body could finally release the weight naturally, without punishment or restriction. She said, "My blood sugar, my blood pressure, and my bad cholesterol numbers have all come down." But the biggest shift for Sherrelle was no longer battling her body with diets and overexercise. She said, I feel lighter in my body, lighter in my spirit, and lighter in my life. That transformation came from nourishment and balance, not deprivation. And that is what so many women need to hear. You do not have to punish yourself to heal. You just need the right guidance. See, Maria's story is about freedom from symptoms. Constance is about freedom from medication. And Sherrelle is about freedom from the cycles of dieting and overexercising. Each story shows a different dimension of what happens when women are given the clarity, the tools, and the support they deserve and need. But what moves me most is not only their personal wins, but it's the ripple effect, right? When Maria stopped having hot flashes, she rediscovered her confidence. She could enjoy daily life again without the constant interruption of anxiety or wondering when the next hot flash would strike. When Constance regained control of her health, it was not about the numbers on the chart. It was her voice, her energy, her sense of possibility that came back. And when Sherrelle said she felt lighter, it was not just about her body. It was about her spirit. Her joy became visible. Her renewed energy inspired the people around her, and she became an example of what happens when women stop punishing themselves and start learning to work with their bodies instead of against them. And this is where the Menopause Made Simple experience comes in. It's not just about hot flashes, blood sugar, or blood pressure. Those are important, but the deeper transformation is the way women see themselves. When you stop feeling broken, you stop hiding, and you stop accepting less. Instead, reclaim your health, reclaim your energy, and reclaim your power. You know, I keep saying this because menopause does not just touch your hormones. It touches every part of your life. And when you can find a clear, simple path through it, you don't just transform your own journey, you inspire others. Your friends feel encouraged to speak up. Your community see that it's possible to thrive instead of struggle because one woman's courage becomes another woman's permission. And that is why these stories matter so much, because every Maria, every Constance, every Sherrelle represents countless other women who are still waiting for their breakthrough. Now, if you want to move past confusion to clarity and from frustration to confidence and from struggling to thriving, then the Menopause Made Simple experience is exactly what you need. But to ensure that this is the right next step for you, start with the Menopause Clarity Quiz. In just 2 minutes, you'll gain personal insights and clarity that show you exactly where you are in your journey and whether this program is the best fit for your needs. It's simple, it's eye-opening, and it will give you the kind of clarity that you may have been missing for years. So don't wait. Take the quiz today and start your journey towards the same freedom and transformation that you heard in the stories of Maria, Constance, and Sherrelle, as well as from Heidi, Deanna, and Darlene from segment 2. Because your clarity is waiting, your confidence is within reach, and your future can be brighter than you ever imagined. Look, this is not just about getting through menopause. It's about thriving through it with knowledge, power, hope, and complete autonomy. I'm Tawfiq Akir, also known as Mr. Menopause, your guide and ally, here to take this journey with you every single step of the way. Until next time, please stay safe, stay strong, and take the next step towards clarity today.